Uh, my name is Akshat Sinha, as you would probably know from my profile. I'm an artist and a curator, and today we are doing a session on diabetes and pre-diabetes. This will be the part one. This will be the first part of a series of interviews that I'll be conducting with Dr. Shakti. Welcome, Dr. Shakti.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Dr. Shakti is a visiting consultant with Max and Indraprastha Apollo Hospitals. Uh, Getting directly to what we are about to be discussing today, what is diabetes?
Thank you, Akshat, for the introduction. And so, of course, the topic is what is diabetes? So, the question also is what is diabetes?
Absolutely.
So, very simply put, it means high levels of sugar in the blood. I think most of us know that.
Right.
But to explain it further and how and why it happens, we must go back to the basics of nutrition.
Right.
So we eat because we need energy.
Right.
So the three main nutrients which we get from food, these are the carbohydrates, fats, and proteins.
Okay.
And so these are digested and assimilated by the body to the simplest form.
Right.
So that they can be utilized. So the simplest form of carbohydrate is sugar or glucose.
Okay.
So what happens is that when we eat, the notice goes to the hormones,
Right.
to the pancreas in particular, to release insulin,
Okay.
which is responsible for the uptake of glucose and the utilization.
Okay.
So in diabetes, what happens is that either insulin is not produced enough,
Right.
or if it is produced enough, it is not utilized properly. So in summary, diabetes is a condition in which the ability of the body to process glucose or sugar
Right.
is impaired. So
Okay.
this leads to high levels of sugar in the blood.
Okay, so basically the high sugar levels in the blood lead to a situation where the individual is diabetic, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is this a very prevalent? Is it a common thing, or is it a curable disease? Is it how do you think it is?
So it is quite prevalent. In fact, it is also a pandemic.
Oh.
Just like the coronavirus, it is
My
a
God.
pandemic.
Right.
So India being the second most populous country,
Right.
we also have the second most number of diabetics in the world.
Okay.
So this is around 77 million, and it
My God.
roughly translates to 1 in 10 people in India are diabetic.
Across all
Yes.
urban and rural?
No, only in urban. Yes,
Okay.
you're right. In cities and in rural, even this is rising. 1 in 30 are diabetic. So this is also quite a high number.
Right.
And there was in fact a survey conducted by the WHO in 2016,
Okay.
in which we came to know that 20% of Indians are overweight. So
Okay.
yes, out of 100. So although we are, battling malnutrition on one hand,
Right.
on the other, a large number are overweight as well. So this is also a
Yeah.
big problem.
Yeah, 20% is a very
Yes.
alarming number. It's a very huge number.
Yes.
But you bring up this thing about overweight. How does this connect with diabetes?
So basically, there are a number of risk factors for you to get diabetes.
Okay.
And being overweight is a very, very important and a big factor.
Right.
So if you're overweight or you have an unhealthy diet, you don't exercise, lifestyle,
Right.
or if you have some other medical problems like blood pressure, high cholesterol, fatty liver, so all of these risk factors predispose to a person becoming diabetic. So these are risk factors which will enable us to choose which people should go for screening for diabetes.
So what are these risk factors that you are talking about? Are there more? I mean,
Yeah, so these are modifiable risk factors. So we know that we can
Okay.
modify our weight and our diet, and we can start to exercise. But there are some non-modifiable risk factors. For example, our age. So when we cross 45,
okay,
the risk of becoming diabetic becomes starts to increase.
okay,
Um, Also, if you have a family history, very big risk factor. And if you're Asian, like we are Asians, so Asians are more prone to becoming diabetic than Caucasians, that is,
Okay.
Americans or Europeans. So these are the risk factors which have enabled us to come out with guidelines that anybody who has any of these risk factors or is getting above 45
right.
should go for screening.
So as you mentioned, these are those non-modifiable risk factors which include age, ethnicity, where you're from, be it from Asia. I mean, like we are Asians, we are more prone to diabetes and all. From the non-modifiable, you mentioned diet is one thing,
Yes.
exercise is another. Are there any other non-modifiable? I mean, in terms of our lifestyle or?
Yeah, I think smoking and alcohol.
Okay.
I forgot.
Yeah.
These are also two big risk factors.
Right.
So diet, exercise, smoking, alcohol, all of them.
All of them contribute.
Yes.
You mentioned about the screening process. So how can, I mean, what are these kind of tests that we can do or are done for the screening?
That's a very relevant question. So there are there are 4 tests which we do to check sugar levels in the blood.
Right.
So one is the fasting blood sugar, FBS,
Right.
and random blood sugar and HbA1c.
Okay.
So out of these, random blood sugar is least useful because if it is high, then we have to go for the others. So it is not used as a screening per se. So fasting, postprandial and HbA1c. So we have levels above which you are diabetic, and
they are reference
yeah.
values.
Yes.
So what are these reference values? I mean,
so for example, fasting blood sugar below 100 is normal.
Okay.
And above 125 is diabetic.
Okay.
So there is a range between 100 and 125, which we say you have pre-diabetes. So pre-diabetes is a step before diabetes when we say that this is also a risk factor. So if you have high, sugar levels are high, but below the threshold for diabetes.
Okay.
So we say that you have pre-diabetes.
So what happens, I mean, in terms of differentiation between pre-diabetes and diabetes? I understand that they are considered or understood through the value range that they are lying in. How are they managed? I mean, medically, how are they managed?
So, first of all, let me add that HbA1c is the most useful screening test. So it gives us the average value of sugar levels in the blood for that individual in the past 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
So we have a very good idea as to the levels, and we actually monitor treatment through these levels. So, but when we diagnose pre-diabetes, it can be either of these values, fasting blood sugar, postprandial or HbA1c, which can be below the threshold of diabetic value, but above normal. Okay. So we say that at this stage, your condition is pre-diabetes and it is reversible. So if you incorporate lifestyle changes, which we mentioned, like having a healthier diet and starting to exercise and stopping to smoke and to drink, so these can contribute to
Right.
your pre-diabetes going to normal levels. So the risk of becoming diabetic automatically decreases.
So at this stage, when a person has been detected to be pre-diabetic, between the range of 100 to 125, as you mentioned, there is a possibility to manage and maintain it at this level,
Yes.
and through our lifestyle changes,
Yes.
through our diet and everything.
Yes.
What changes in case of diabetes?
So these lifestyle changes are of course required,
Okay.
because now you have to take care lifelong. So even in the case of pre-diabetes, the risk will not go away. So
Right.
you have to continue. These changes have to be permanent.
Okay.
So it is. I mean, it is good to have a healthy lifestyle, and
That's true. That's true.
so. But if you become diabetic, then we have to intervene in terms of prescribing you medication.
Okay. So there is medical intervention that is
Yeah.
required,
Yes. Yes.
and which would vary on the scale of
HbA1c, HbA1c
Yeah.
levels.
the level of, I mean,
Yeah.
the scale that you have
Yes.
reached. I mean,
Yes.
how increased is the blood sugar level?
Yes. Yes.
Right. So, having discussed this, I think I would like, unless you have something to mention where you would like to give something out to our listeners, probably one thing that I would want to know is who should go in for a screening. If you could identify that for us.
So anybody who is above 45 years,
Okay.
or if he is below 45, he or she, but has these risk factors, has any one of the risk factors,
When
be
you
it
say
a
risk
family history,
right.
okay, if you're overweight, or you know that your diet is not very healthy and you're
Right.
gaining weight,
Right.
and you don't like to exercise, so all these actually contribute to, in the end, to becoming overweight.
Right.
So if you have high blood pressure, or if you have high cholesterol levels, so
Right.
you should you should always, at least once a year, you should go for
Once a
screening.
year should be
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Shakti, and we will continue this in the next section, the next part, which we'll be conducting soon.
Thank you.
There are a lot of questions I'm sure that our listeners would have, and I'm sure that you would have some feedback to share as well. We'll be continuing with these conversations regarding diabetes and pre-diabetes with Dr. Shakti in the near future. Kindly send us your questions, your queries, and your feedback. And thank you very much for listening to us. Thank you very much, Dr. Shakti.
Yeah, I hope I explained it simply, because I just want that the basic perception or the concept should be clear.
Right.
Did you understand?
Yeah, I think having had my blood test done last year, where my cholesterol levels were a little skewed, but thankfully sugar level was fine. So yeah, I think we need to take care of our own health. We are responsible for it. Let's stay safe. Let's take care. Let's stay home, and let's stay healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.